Storyboard, I'm Shibani Gharat. American footwear and sportswear giant Skechers has identified India as one of its fastest growing markets. The California headquartered company recently inaugurated its first warehouse and distribution center at Lodha Industrial and Logistics Park, Palava near Mumbai, covering 6.5 lakh square feet. This facility is also poised to produce apparel and footwear. To give you a background, Skechers' journey in India began in 2012 with 5149 joint venture with Future Group. In 2018, Skechers took full control of the venture by acquiring the minority stake for around $100 million to consolidate its position in the Indian market. And now the brand is ready to invest heavily in the country. We're catching up with David Weinberg, COO of Skechers USA, and John Vandemore, CFO of Skechers USA, who were visiting Mumbai this week, along with Rahul, Vira, CEO of Skechers Asia, at their Mumbai office to find out about their big plans for the country. David, let's begin this conversation with you opening up a big 6.5 lakh square feet facility near Mumbai this week. The journey for Skechers started in the country back in 2012. Can you take us through the journey of Skechers in the country?
Oh yeah, it's been a beautiful journey. We've enjoyed every minute of it, even with some of the difficulties we've seen. We're growing, we have a great group of people here. We're willing to invest here. All our investments have fulfilled our dreams, as much as I can tell you. We're very happy being here. We have high hopes for here. We think it's only the beginning of a more wonderful trip to a much bigger business and a much higher profile in India.
Correct. John, over to you. Setting up a big facility close to a city, which is like the heart of, the financial hub of the country. Tell us, what are your big plans with the facility? What do you want to facilitate setting up a facility right here?
Picking Palava for our NDC was critical as we view the future growth opportunities in this market. We made it expandable. We'll continue to invest there both in people and in automation, but our hopes are that we, quite frankly, quickly outgrow it. And we're adding an additional 400,000 square feet, but also then ultimately additional NDCs potentially across the country.
Yeah. Rahul, over to you. Speaking about investments and, what are the areas that would you really like to focus, when it comes to the country? And what are also the conversations that you're having with the global on their focus on the country?
So there are multiple levels of conversation. While the market is growing, it's exciting, and thanks for their support. We invested in building our capabilities in terms of our supply chain to ensure that the products are delivered to a consumer in a more efficient manner. Apart from them, there are investments that we are doing in terms of our retail expansion. We are adding so many stores into the country because I think India has a great appetite on that front too, and making our product accessible. Apart from that, I think there are conversations that we have is about creating various multiple, like for example, I don't know if you know, but just last month we did Skechers Walkathon,
yes,
which is again a huge community that we are building in this country. We are promoting different sports into the country. There's lifestyle. So there's whole lot of things that I can keep talking about.
There are many other niche sports that are picking up off late. Pickleball is something that is got the fancy of the world. So what are some of the things, that you are eyeing in terms of sports and sporting sponsorships, going forward? Because they also provide, these niche sports specifically also provide great opportunity for a company like yours to connect with that a niche consumer, with that cohort playing that particular sport.
You're right, and actually pickleball is one we pioneered across the globe, and what you're seeing is a fantastic rate of growth in that sport, and one we think ultimately that will capture the globe. It's a great way to play a sport, get into health, but also benefits from the things we offer, which is that comfort technology. But we actually think that Skechers as a brand has a right to play in all sports. It's a great way to introduce people to the brand so that they can then recognize that there are other avenues, the work shoes, the shoes that we offer for casual. All of those have the same technologies, the same emphasis. So getting people into an early sport like pickleball, pioneering that with sponsorships of leagues and athletes is just one step to further growing their awareness of the brand and quite frankly, further offering us an opportunity to equip them with our comfortable shoes.
David, what are some of the factors which are shaping, Skechers' strategy globally?
Well, our major strategy is growth. We're always looking to grow. But since we were first began, we're always looking to be a foot covering business. We never wanted to be in a special niche. We want to be in all the niches as they become available. So we want to be all for the family, all demographics, all economic variabilities that are available to us. So we want to treat everybody to great footwear that's comfortable, fashionable, young, middle, older, sports people, walking people, sedentary people, people in the office mostly to be comfortable. So we're trying to find something in our technologies and our fashion for everyone.
Rahul, how is the performance category performing in the country?
For us, it's doing extremely well.
Yeah.
Interestingly, our performance category has multiple, product lines available, and the running shoe category within that is an excellent piece, which a lot of people today have. When you start going to the marathons and start seeing people running, you'll find a lot of Skechers running shoes.
I think in 2018, it was when Skechers took full control of, and acquired the minority stake from Future Group. What has that enabled, David, for your plans in the country?
Well, I think it helps us because we're willing to invest, and we weren't looking for any partners to invest. I think it indicates to everybody, or it should, that how much we feel about this country, what we think it's worth, how much we're willing to invest to put in there. This country, we think, is principal in our growth in the future. We're not only using it commercially, but we're looking to grow production-wise to feed the world, both for domestic production for domestic consumption and export. So that's both footwear, apparel, accessories. So our plans here are as big as for any place in the world that we exist. We think we came early. We own it all ourselves. We're going to invest all ourselves, and we think we're going to make it one of the biggest marketplaces in the world for us.
Yeah, and how do you want the brand to be perceived in the India market? How is it perceived today by your global consumer, by the way, and how do you want it to be perceived in the country?
We want it to be perceived as a comfortable brand, a brand that gives you comfort for a price, quality of shoes, and that shoes you can use for everything you do in your life. When you look in your closet, it can take the space of almost anything for walking, for working. As John said, for our work shoes are doing very, very well. So we want it to be the family brand that anybody who goes in there can shop for it and find something they need and something that will make them feel better.
Yeah. Rahul, it was only this year that you opened your DTC, if I'm not mistaken, right? So what is working in the country? What is, what is working for Skechers, and where are the consumers going? Is it brick and mortar stores? Is it online? How are they purchasing your products?
I think consumers today are looking at access to the product, and whatever is convenient for them is where they are going. As Skechers, we have ensured that we are available. So, for example, if somebody is searching us online, we are available online. And if somebody wants to, have the complete retail experience and go offline into any of our retail stores, we are available there. We are available with our multi-brand outlets or partners, like, department stores, specialty stores. So for us, the objective is anybody searching for Skechers, he should be able to get it easily.
And online definitely would have given you access to the remote places in the country.
It does.
What about taking your stores there to take that entire brand and experience
so we've done that.
Beyond metros?
We've done that. In fact, we have moved to tier 3 cities also, because when you look at the data, there's also sometimes you get some surprises that there are consumers looking for you in some of the markets which was never on your radar, but then that's how you land up going there, and you find great consumers over there.
Yeah, John, Olympics is happening, in the next year. What are Skechers' plans around the Olympics 2024, the Paris Olympics?
Yeah, the Olympics are a great opportunity to emphasize really everything we've talked about, which is for us certainly starting from the performance side of things, the wide range of sports that we fulfill. In a country like India, gives us the opportunity to continue to support athletes and athlete development locally, so that as those athletes travel to the Olympics, they have the type of support that we offer to actually succeed in their various sports. And the Olympics are a great opportunity in general to emphasize health and wellness, which we think aligns perfectly with our brand.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we are speaking with Vinay Pant of Tata Motors, and we are also finding out why Vivo is asking you to switch off. Welcome back. Tata Motors is curating its SUV vehicles offering to cater to the changing demand in the domestic market. Vinay Pant, head of marketing at Tata Motors Passenger Vehicles, is catching up with us this week on the increasing SUV market share, changing consumer demand, and as the company is gaining market share, what is Tata Motors doing to differentiate its SUV offerings from the competition and modernizing the segment? Vinay, welcome to CNBC TV18.
Thank you, Shibani. Pleasure to be on the show.
Vinay, I have seen over the past couple of years, Tata Motors is strengthening its SUV portfolio. So if you can share with us, what is your current market share in this segment? And, what are some of the things that you are doing, especially when it comes to SUVs?
So I think we spotted the trend much earlier, right? And the Nexon, when we launched that, right? So much against the convention, we went against the boxy designs, right? So we started with a coupe shaped SUV, and which was really lapped up by the customers. And after that, we've been actually improving on that design, making it much more mature, right? Followed by the Harrier, the Safari, and the Punch, right? So our portfolio is very, very robust, whether it is the entry-level SUVs. So Punch is again something which we actually identified that there's a segment which is growing there. Nexon we'd already worked on, and then the high end, right? So SUVs is a segment where we had laid our bets, and I think it worked for us. Currently, more than 60% of our sales are coming from the SUV portfolio, and our share in the compact and subcompact SUVs is close to a third, so around 33%, and in the high SUVs where we operate, it's around 25%. So a very robust portfolio, a portfolio which is spanning a huge number of price points, and I think we're doing pretty well there.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, you had picked up this trend early on, but the competition in this is like in the SUV segment is very, very stiff. So what are some of the things that Tata Motors is doing to, let's say, modernize its offerings?
The basis of this falls in this philosophy that we have, which we call the new forever, right? That you make designs and you keep doing improvements, which makes your product a relatively fresh one every time, right? So if you look at the design language that we have, right, whether it's the Nexon, the Punch, the Harrier, Safari, especially the new ones if you see, right, they have evolved over time. So while the basic character of the car remains the same, but the way the refinements are happening has been very different. And you keep the market abuzz by doing those investments and new introductions, right? So for example, we spotted this trend of the dark color, right? And way back in 2020, we actually introduced the dark edition in the Harrier, right? Then we upped it up earlier this year when we had the red dark, right? So it's about listening to the customers, seeing what the trends are, and actually translating that into your product, into your features. The other thing, of course, is the technologies. If you sit into the cabin of any of our cars, you'll see that it's a very cocoon kind of a feeling, because of course our cars are the safest, but there's a lot of tech also flowing into that, right? Because the way the digitization is happening, the way, for example, the way kids are actually influencing car decisions. You sit into the console of a Harrier or Safari or a Nexon, you'll see that it's in a way inspired from these gaming consoles, right? You switch on the car and the T logo lights up, right? So those are things that you keep listening to, and fortunately we have a very agile team, and we're able to implement this at a very frantic kind of a pace.
So also share with us some of the marketing efforts that you guys have put forth around these offerings by Tata Motors.
So Altroz is one of our flagship products. We introduced the CNG in that, the iCNG technology that we have, right? And we introduced a new technology which is called a twin cylinder, right? So CNGs have been there, and factory fitted CNGs have been there for a very long time. But the common problem which people facing and even face in many of the competition models is that you compromise on the boot space. So we came up with this technology, which is the twin cylinder, which is two small cylinders which add up to the same capacity, but in the process you end up freeing up the boot space, right? So our campaign was based on a consumer insight, because when we showed this car to a customer, so the moment she saw that, she said, "Oh my God, right? And from there, we picked it up, this OMG. So the entire campaign was around OMG CNG, right? And it was a completely 360-degree campaign. And we had some innovative solutions which we use, especially in the case of outdoors, right? So one thing which been really viral was this innovation that we had done around the carousel trays at the airports, right? To show how actually spacious our boot was. So we had taken that luggage belt, and on that we had put a cutout of a car. Not a cutout, actually, it was a proper car which was there, and all the luggage was going into the boot. Yeah. Right. Earlier this year, when it was the Red Dark edition of the Harrier Safari and the Nexon, right? There again, it was inspired by manga, right? And the way the animation moved to the actual ad, and that it was, I think, something of a pretty visual delight, right? That's what we're trying to bring into our campaigns, and fortunately, it's working for us.
All the best for that. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us
Thank you,
today.
Shibani. Pleasure being with you.
Moving on with an objective of sensitizing people on excessive usage of smartphones. Smartphone maker Vivo, in association with Cyber Media Research, has unveiled the findings of the 5th edition of Vivo's Switch Off research. The study, titled Impact of Smartphones on Parent-Child Relationship, focuses on how excessive and mindless use of smartphones is hampering bonds between parents and children. The brand is also commemorating 20th December as Switch Off Day. Through this, Vivo is urging Indian consumers to join the movement, turn off their digital screens and spend quality time with their family and loved ones. To sensitize more people towards meaningful usage of technology, Vivo has also roped in Catherine Price, a renowned health and science writer, author of the book How to Break Up With Your Phone, and founder of Screen Life Balance, a resource hub that helps people jumpstart a healthier relationship with their smartphone. Today we are joined in by Catherine Price and Geetaj, head of corporate strategy, Vivo India, to find out more. Catherine, the report also states that, in our country, in India, the smartphone usage has gone up over the last 5 years. And in these 5 years, we also went through a global pandemic. The way in which we worked or we studied or we took education completely changed over the past 5 years. So has, the pandemic and this whole work from home and hybrid working models also contributed to this spike in smartphone usage?
I think that the pandemic definitely contributed to the spike in smartphone usage. It certainly happened in the United States, and it sounds like it did in India as well, which makes sense if you think about it, because we were put into a position where we couldn't be in person with people and be safe. So we had to use our smartphones for all of these other functions. And if you think about it, that's absolutely amazing. I don't think there's many people who would have wanted to have gone through the pandemic without their smartphone. But now that we are getting to the other side of the pandemic, I think it's important for us to think about when we want to spend time with people in person and recreate, or perhaps create for the first time, the boundaries that are necessary to preserve those in-person relationships with the people who matter the most.
Yeah. And over to you, Geetaj. You're the ones who are coming up with new devices every few months, every few weeks. So being a smartphone maker, tell us about your responsibility in, responsible usage of smartphones beyond just discussing and raising awareness about it. What are you doing as a smartphone maker?
So I think, let me respond to this in 3 parts, how we are responding. Number one, all your smartphones, every single one that you're using, gives you an option to really time that you're spending on it. So there are various tools that are available that help you manage that time. So that's already there. I think what we really need to do is spread awareness, and that's exactly what we are doing. And thanks a lot to Catherine, who's helping us do that. So if you go to the Vivo newsroom in India, we are setting up a survey also that people can take and figure out, how really bad is it for them. And Catherine is also going to help a few of them one-on-one to get better at it. And third is, I think we are really expanding the reach this time. This is the 5th year. We are actually converting it into a switch off day. On 20th of December, we are asking people to switch off for at least 1 hour in a day. Let's give it a start, right? Let's start somewhere. And that's what we are trying to give it a bit of a push and tell people, okay, go switch off for one hour and be with your families. At least, people take it as an option. Yes, we can also switch off.
Catherine, over to you. You have written a book which is how to break up with your phone. Taking some learnings from the book, if you can share with us, how do you effectively do break up from your phone?
You don't want to just start restricting yourself for the sake of restriction and not really know why. And then once you actually have a sense of why you want to spend less time on your phone, you can start taking steps to create more boundaries with it. So for example, I always charge my phone in a closet. I highly suggest people charge it out of arm's reach from where you're sleeping. And you can look at what apps are your most problematic apps, because in many cases, we all know there's particular apps that suck our time from us. I think that it's important to separate the phone itself from the apps that are on it, because a phone is essentially like a refrigerator that can have many different types of food in it and can have many different types of apps. Some of those apps are really helpful, if not essential. And then some of the apps are big time wasters that are actually deliberately designed to waste our time, because it's how the companies that make them make money. So you really want to separate those categories of apps for yourself. And if you know that you keep getting sucked into checking a social media app while you're having dinner with your family, then I would highly suggest on a regular basis that you try to keep that app off your phone. You can always install it and check it and delete it again, but it truly is amazing that just the time it takes to reinstall an app is often enough to make people realize, I actually don't really want to be checking that right now.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have an interesting conversation with Prestige Group's Uzma Irfan on key trends in real estate and real estate marketing, setting up her own entrepreneurial venture Sublime and more. India's real estate market is one of the most dynamic and fastest growing in the world. Bangalore-based Prestige Group is one of the prominent names in this market. We have seen how Prestige Group has grown by leaps and bounds in the city and other markets of the country. One person responsible for strengthening the company's brand presence across different markets is Uzma Irfan. She is currently responsible for marketing, communication, corporate communication, branding and all image-related initiatives for Prestige Group. And not just this, she is also an enterprising entrepreneur who started Sublime in 2009 with the Sublime Art Galleria in the collection at Ubicity. Under her exceptional leadership, Sublime has grown to include Sublime Media Buying, Sublime House of Tea and Sublime Event Management as well. Today, she is joining us in our studio for a special chat. Uzma, welcome to CNBC TV18.
Thank you, Shibani. It's a privilege, honor and a pleasure to be here.
Uzma, let's first begin this conversation by speaking about Sublime, which is your baby. Tell us about the journey of Sublime.
Sublime actually officially started in 1985. As a child, I didn't want to take pocket money from my parents. I started by recording music and then moved on to doing other entrepreneurial things. And then, of course, 2009 was the beginning of Sublime Art Galleria at Ubicity, which gives a platform to upcoming artists, and there's no stopping. Today, we're in 2023. I have 7 verticals under my own brand.
And moving now to real estate, which is what Prestige Group is renowned for, and the core part of your role at Prestige is to manage, its branding, its communication. If you can share with us, we have seen how over the past couple of months, over the last 1 year, real estate has had a comeback. Tell us, what are some of the key trends in the real estate sector now?
Well, what's happened after COVID is that people have realized I can't just fly away on a whim. I still need stability and I need a home in the suburbs where I can just go away for the weekend with my family. I need bigger space, more room, because we realized that when we're working from home, we need our space. Kids are, everybody was sitting on the wife's head in the kitchen. People really didn't pay attention to the home. Now people are actually paying attention to homes, and they're looking at not only investing, but having a first home and a second home.
And, now since, Prestige is also expanding to other markets, entering Mumbai, which is one of the most expensive real estate markets in the country, not just in the country, in Asia for that matter. So what are your learnings from, this entry? What are some of the things that you're picking up?
Mumbai has been brilliant, not because I'm sitting in Mumbai, but I think Mumbai has really welcomed us with open arms. And also we did it the right way. We didn't just come and say, hey, listen, we are the biggest, we are the largest. No, there are already established developers. How are we adding value to the market? And I think Mumbai has that appetite to accept more. So we have also showcased what we have done in the last 36 years. And we've always delivered. So people trust you when it's quality, when you care, when there is emotional connect with your customers, and you've actually delivered. For developers, it's only an apartment. For the person who buys it, it's his dream home. He's putting his life in life savings, and he's putting his trust in you, and never break that.
Yeah.
And those are the values that we emulate at Prestige. We care, trust, quality, all of this.
Uzma, now also tell us, since you manage marketing and branding initiatives for the Prestige Group, over the past couple of years, we have seen so many changes when it comes to real estate marketing. So how has it evolved? If you can share that journey with us, and what are some of the stark changes that you have seen over the past many years?
Firstly, where your brand is visible speaks a lot about you. So I'm very particular about where Prestige Group is, because in the audience's mind, we are a premium luxury. Content marketing, that's the way. And I think there's been a huge digital transformation. There is a little dependency on traditional media, like your outdoor newspapers with a one-day shelf life, but it's more digital, because there you are reaching out to the entire world. And now people are not coming to you from a 5-kilometer radius, they're coming to you from all over. And also people love stories. So it's all about blogs, podcasts. So we just did this whole podcast, brick by brick, about the Prestige Group, the whole journey of how it started and how it's evolving. So that.
So brick by brick is a good name actually.
Yeah,
and
it is built brick by brick. You must listen to it.
Yeah.
And of course, innovative partnerships. Partnerships are so important because they add value to your brand and vice versa.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.